Hello, everyone. It's your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, here with Ryan. And today we are going to be doing episode 9 of the Two Guys Talking podcast, the podcast where Ryan and I talk on the phone and hopefully have it engaging back and forth instead of Ryan falling asleep, which happened once. Make sure you check out episode 7. Anyways,
Why did you check out episode 7?
to see the episode where Ryan fell asleep.
To see me go like a
But
couple
we're
times and then just not do that?
So this time around, we're gonna try and see if Ryan won't fall asleep. That's the goal.
Wait, you want me to go like this again?
Nah, nah, nah. Wake up. Let's see. So let's start things off strong. I know that you're really good about jumping on the like Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. If I bring up like Yu-Gi-Oh, I feel like it might be more engaging than if I bring up like comic book stuff. I feel like comic book stuff can be hit or miss with you. Okay. What do you think of the new Maho card? The like level 8 that gains different effects based on the number of equipped cards that are attached to it.
Meh. I mean, like, not only is it a high level monster, so you kind of have to have some way of like summoning it consistent. Like, it doesn't summon itself, so you need some other type of way, like either like dump it in the grave really easily somehow, and then like monster reborn it or summon it out of the hand like a magical dimension, something like that, right? And then you have to have all these other equips. Like it doesn't equip things like from the deck or graveyard or something. So you have to like, I guess, use that like what's the armory card, the new trap one that like does that.
I think it's is it not just sure called like Mystic Armory or something?
The armory trap card, something like that to like get these equips out of the deck, and it seemingly is some sort of like you want to equip like a whole of some sort of like Ragnar Miniad style, or just like as like a bunch of like stacking effects based on all the equipped, but a bunch of the effects are pretty lackluster and like kind of samey. Like they're not even that good. Like something like Ragnar Miniad, which was like rank 4, where it's like, you know, 2 plus
Armory
materials.
Call is what it's called.
Yeah, you can go up to like 5 materials, but then like material like number like 4 or 5 is like your opponent can't summon anything, and then the other one is like just like destroy your opponent's field almost. Like you have to get like really good effects, and that's something on like Ragnar Minion, which is far easier to summon than this guy, who needs like even more cards to work at a basic level, and he does even less.
Mm.
Like Ragnar Minion is like you can have better effects, easier to summon, because like a level 4 like rank keys, like use like a Tellarknight thing and just, or just like summon a bunch of level 4s somehow. Like I said, like warriors or something. It's just like easier to do than summon this guy, and that card's like an extra deck thing. This thing will like be like a dead card in your hand probably, the way that like a lot of like tribute monsters that can't summon themselves somehow, or most of like the kind of like boss monster tribute or like high level monsters, from like structure decks things that are in the main deck usually have to have some way of like tutoring themselves out, right?
Mm.
His Ops can just summon itself, either some kind of like chaos monster thing, or they'll be in like an archetype that can like special summon them out the hand, like Cosmos. They have a bunch of high levels, but it's not as bad because you tribute summon them, and they're fairly easy to summon out with, the other cards in the archetype. You have to have something like that to even like get high level monsters, even like on the field. And then once it's on the field, the new Maha doesn't really do much, because then you need even more cards just to like power it up to like 2050 or something. Just like the first equip boost. And it's not that great.
What support do you think they could make for this card to make it worth playing?
I mean, essentially, you would need some sort of Maha, I guess, Vilo. Uh, you don't need a Vilo, but like a Maha Vilo or something like some kind of archetype would be interesting because it'd be like equip based, but like you already have like better equip based decks, I guess, that have more and better support, for like the Noble Knight, like Inferno Noble Knights. Could probably just do whatever like this deck and thing. Yeah, like the Noble that can just like equip all of the Noble Knight things like in the graveyard, and he's like a rank 4. Like that kind of card is just way better than this because not only is it easy to summon, especially in the Noble Knight deck, like all of those equips are just like better effects than the effects that this guy has.
Mm.
You know, like this guy's effect don't really make it worth summoning. So like just take all those equips and a better card.
I feel
You
like
know,
if you could get him out,
like if you put like a Moonmere Shield or something on this, just take that Moonmere Shield and like put it on a better card, like some kind of thing, or some sort of like thing that can attack all the opponent's monsters like once each, like some sort of Susanoo Bujin card or like a you know Ultimate Conductor Tyranno type thing, like just a better monster that can better utilize and equip, like any equip.
now I would
Uh,
say that this Maho
or
guy, it seems like the goal is to use him as your win con. Like he's supposed to be like a boss
right,
monster.
but like unlike a lot of archetype boss monsters, usually have like a way of summoning themselves, either from
Agreed.
somewhere.
Like I got you.
Like Dark Worlds have like Grapha, where it's like really easy to discard and get in the grave, and then it brings itself back, and it's just like a body. You have like I said before, like Cosmos, and just special summon out of the hand, have their big old Ultimate Conductor Chaos things, and then Chaos decks have a bunch of Chaos summoning. You can just really easy. I guess something like Toons is where I was thinking of like high level monsters that aren't as easy to summon, but they have like hella searching and like you can special summon like the Red Eyes one with like the Black Stone of Legend, stuff like that, right?
Mhm.
Whereas Mahavilo doesn't really have any kind of like generic spellcastery like special. I mean, maybe you can, but at that point you just probably find a better spellcaster to summon, like an Endymion or something, and like just a more consistent win con. I guess it's just like easier to summon because like you can theoretically like get this guy on the field, maybe with like too high a cost, but then like to get all the equip the armory card that like equips things like from the deck. You can only activate like one of those a turn, so you'd have to have like a bunch of other equips, and then you would have to like I don't know, have some sort of like hand replenishing card, like maybe if it's some kind of like anime format where you have like a card is saying to just draw 6 to like replenish all your hand once you like put all your equips you had on the field there. Uh, and then even then you have like Harpy's Feather Duster just got limited to 1, where you
Oh
can just blow up
goodness.
all those equipment. Like if they just like who Harpy's Feather Duster is like really it's like negate attack. Because they had like 2 effects that stopped like once monster affections, and I think the other one might stop spell check, but that's like number like 3 or 4. It's just like okay, maybe you could stop the battle traps, but it still seems like they could just dig. Like he doesn't have any protection either, so like unless the equip card gives him protection, like some I don't know. what's that? Power of the Guardians or something? Or is like the spell count protect the thing? Something like that. Because they
What's
could
the
just like
name of the new Maha? I'm trying to pull it up to where they can see it on screen while we
uh,
talk about it, and I can't find it.
just go to like white organization.
Okay, that's fair. But you were talking about Power of the Guardians, a spell counter form of protection.
Yeah, like that's a spell or an equip spell that allows you to protect the monster you equip, like by battle or card effect. So like summon Mothra, it doesn't have any protection from like basic like trap hole, like bottomless trap hole type stuff, as if people are running that. But like it doesn't have any kind of like targeting protection to keep it from getting like infinite impermeance or like some like hand trap negating thing. You know, there's like a bunch of stuff that it can't do, and the win con isn't particularly. It's like light ski Mahavilo. I don't know what that translation. Essentially, they put some other Jeff in front of Mahavilo's name. I don't know what the word is. Yeah. So it's like each of the effects based on
Sky
other equip.
Mahavalo.
No, one gives it 1,000 attack for each equipped card equipped to it. The second one is like your opponent can't activate monster effects during the battle phase.
Third
Third is when your
quick,
opponent.
when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets this card, quick effect, you can send one equipped card you control to the graveyard and negate that
I'll
effect.
scream that.
What?
That's what I was saying. You
Well,
interrupted me.
I have it like pulled up on the screen. Like I told you, I had it like even the viewers can see it right now. I'm just saying it's like redundant for us to read it. We both know what it does, and so does the audience.
Oh, sure.
I mean, I think the protection that you're supposedly giving it with the equips is more like it's strong once you put stuff on it, kind of.
Yeah, but the thing is, with the first effect, it's already strong once it has the equips. A bunch of like like old school equips would just like be the thing that makes it strong yourself. Like you take like a monster that like some sort of I don't know like a bills or something, and you put like an equip on it. Now it's like really strong, and it itself has like protection from like battle or card effects. So now they can't really deal with it very well. Like putting like some kind of moon mirror shield on a whole bunch of type things like that, where it's just like, well, now you can just beat over things by battle easily enough, right?
Right.
Whereas like in this, you need like a lot of equips to power up one guy, as opposed to having like an already kind of like medium tier or powerful guy, and then just give him one equip to make him like even more powerful, right? Like to something that has like negates to give it like a moon mirror shield. Now it can negate and beat over anything. Or something like think of something like Stardust Dragon like assault mode, right? Like it can negate and then like shifts to the grave back with shield. It also like resets itself. So like every other turn or something, you could just re-equip Moon Mirror Shield to the Stardust Dragon assault mode, and then just kill the thing that they have. Put it back, right? Something like that is a lot more valuable than this guy with one equip just having a powerful attack. Not even like a mid tier
Why is it
attack.
that its attack is so low?
Because that's the same as Mahavilos is 1550.
Yeah, but this
And
is level 8 though.
Mahavilos like gains like 500 attack, and then they're like it's 1,000.
I think they shouldn't have kept the attack the same if they're gonna
Yeah, like
up
a lot
the
of
level.
upgrade type, because not like a retrain, it's like an upgrade. It's like twice the level 8. I mean, because with having like 5 equips, you're essentially giving it 5,000 more attacks. So it's like
Plus whatever
6,000.
equip bonuses it has.
Right. some mage power. I have like 8,000 attack or something, and then battle damage is double. So you can kill this guy. But like if you want to do that, you could probably just do some like Ben K OTK. Like it's already a thing. That's probably just easy because that's like a low level monster. It's attack based on the number of times it's equipped. Like you could probably just take some of these effects and maybe just make them like better effects, and then maybe you would have a slightly better chance or like reason to play. Like if one of these like number three or something, or maybe not. Yeah, like number three, it's just get an effect. Okay,
Um,
and then you lose the equipment. Okay, like take number three or like number two, and just like turn them into like it can attack the number of times per. It can like attack with like a huge attack twice to win. You know, some like BLS style effect, or maybe some sort of like protection. It'd still have all these other problems we mentioned before, but it'd still just be slightly better. Some of these effects just aren't really gonna. Why is number five the attack is dead? Couldn't you just have like a nuke the field or like it does like piercing? Because if it already has like 6,000 attack with the plus five, why does it need to double the damage? Just like for something like Chaos Max has like 4,000, and that does like
double
double.
piercing.
So maybe you should have done like double piercing or something. Like just given it a better effect for something like a five, because that's like the max, the best. Like Ragnominiad just has way better effects than this card, and it's similar. It's just probably like a better kind of strat, like win type thing, or like something like Chaos Max, where it's just like summon a big strong guy and then just attack for a game. There's like easier cards to summon that are just better. Like Chaos Max is like big attack, does double piercing, and has protection. This guy has low attack, no protection, and doesn't do double piercing on its own, and it needs five cards do anything.
Well, not
Like
to do anything, just to be
like
at
Chaos Max
max power.
does like more than this card potentially does by itself, like in like one ritual monster. You know, Ultimate Conductor can attack like five things and deal like effect damage, like 5,000 damage or something, and like can flip all these things out on like one monster, and they're both like don't take up your normal summon for like some trivia summon. Like they can be searched and summonable in a lot easier ways. So it's just like there's better big boss monsters to go for these big attack, swing moves or something. Like if you wanted to build around that.
Now,
Is what
what do you think they could make for him though, that would make him
like
like worth playing?
like make him easier to summon. Like just have another Maha thing that just can like summon it out the hand really easily, and have some kind of way of rapidly like equipping a whole lot of cards. Like maybe like from your graveyard deck or hand. It doesn't really matter. But like the deck or graveyard, like having like a field spell or some continuous thing that can target him and like equip three cards to it.
Three, like for
Or something.
one thing?
Or like there's multiple things. Like you need to make it at least on terms of like equip based strat, like equal to like something like well, you don't have to, but like something like Noble Knights or Infernal Knights, which is like mutually non-exclusive, inclusive, but is also kind of like a separate strat. And both of those are just like way better equip base of like build up a big guy, bunch of equips, and like attack. Like they're just this guy but better and easier to stuff like that. Like they're already, and there's like a whole archetype based around like supporting and summoning and searching out all their cards. Whereas like if you wanted to make this guy the boss monster of something like that, You'd essentially have to build a whole archetype around it, and that's not what they want to do. They just want to make a Mahavila.
Now, if they had made this Mahavilo like Mahavilo level 8, so it would have been compatible with like the level support cards, do you think that would have made it
Like
better?
LV,
Yeah, like you could have like leveled it like the
that
other Maha up into it or something.
is not an LV card anyway. So
I'm
like
saying like what if they did though?
the thing about LVs is they're kind of not great. Like if you look at the new like Thunder Arm Dragon, their whole thing is like they kind of like level up without something like level up. Like some like LVs is kind of fine. You have this like evolution thing, but they're just like more recent and like better examples of like evolving cards where you have like kind of like some of the extra deck make it like Xyz or it can just overlay on top of. It's just like better than the LV mechanic. It's like why isn't this like an monster?
A link monster? Is that what you said?
No, not like but extra deck monster. Like some kind of like rank 8 or something. So now you have it in the extra deck or you extra deck. It's maybe even easier to summon because you know rank 8 engines or something. Or it doesn't have to be rank 8. You can use some kind of Xyz summoning engine to summon it, and then because you already have these kind of I don't know many have like the hazy flame monster, which is similar. Yeah, you have like a whole lot of monsters, materials, and it gains effects based on the number of them. This doesn't do that, but like it gains it. But then you can have like some kind of like detached to like equip things from the deck or something, you know? So then you can just like actually like put more or like one more, you know, some kind of like gear breathing, like search out or get more equips than just like hard drawing them all potentially or doing limited search because it's not like we have like a generic search any equip card. You have like the trap, which is the best, but it's like a
Well,
trap, and then you
I
have like
mean,
armory, like the whole one, but that like gives up like a normal summon, and so there's it's just not good.
do you think they should make it easier to search equips?
I mean, it can.
Like, do you think if they did that, like if they made a generic, you play this, you get an equip, do you think it would be too good, or do you think that would be perfectly fine?
I mean, maybe like a Ben Kai OTK would be too good. Like what's the best equip you're gonna be searching at any given time? Like smoke screen, like Moon Mirror Shield maybe to get those like stun combos. Um, what other equips are seeing play besides like the weird smoke screen thing? Or smoke screen? It's like a really hard card, but can like tear out of your opponent's hand in like Infernal Night combos. So like besides something like that, is there any other like kind of like boosting power up equips that are like generically used? Just seems weird.
Right,
But yeah, I mean,
looking up
should
smoke
make
screen. Is
what
I'm right now. I'm looking up smoke screen. Is it called smoke screen?
is smoke something? Uh,
Is it smoke grenade of the thief? Like what is it? When this equip spell is active and is destroyed by a card effect, look at your opponent's hand
yeah,
and
yeah, it's
select
that
one
kind.
card.
It's
Okay.
like household.
Well, let me pull that up to where the viewers can see it. So, smoke grenade Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh, I went to the Yu-Gi-Oh! DB. That's not what I meant to go to. Not as
When this
visually
equipped
pleasing.
clause is active and is destroyed by a card effect, look at your opponent's hand, select one card from your hand, and discard it. So like this card is pretty interesting. Got a whole like weird like confiscation type effect, where it's just like I can just look at your hand and take anything out of it.
Right.
Back in the you'd it'd be hard to like destroy your own like equip card, but now you can do that easily enough, I guess. Uh,
Where'd
like
you go?
I just like lean forward.
Oh, okay. Well, you vanished.
Let's just leave it at that.
Hey, welcome back.
I didn't go anywhere, Jet.
So you say. Let's see. Um, so Smoke Grenade of the Thief has been getting more play, you're saying?
Like there's some sort of Inferno Knight combo, I think, that they play in a bunch.
Hmm. Smoke Grenade of the Thief seems like for Maho, you could
No,
use
not
it
for
for
Maho.
his.
Don't use it on Maho.
Well, I'm saying if you do
Maho
use
doesn't
it,
have a way of destroying it.
yes, it does.
What?
If your opponent targets Maho with an effect, you can use it to blow up Smoke Grenade of the Thief. With its
You
number three
can.
effect or whatever.
Number three effect doesn't destroy anything. It
What?
just sends it to the graveyard as cost to negate an effect.
Oh no, so it wouldn't work?
It wouldn't work.
Ah,
Yeah, Maho doesn't have a way of utilizing smoke grenade, so you probably shouldn't play smoke.
it's one of those like sending to the graveyard isn't the same as destruction things.
Yeah, some really basic ass shit that Jeff forgot about. It doesn't say destroy in that effect, so it doesn't destroy. Um, it's not that hard.
Alright, you got me. That's true.
Um, do you want to talk about like Pink Ojama?
No, the reason
Okay.
why Valo got my attention is because he's a new boss monster and he's
He's
equipped.
not a boss monster.
I
He's just
think
a
the
powerful.
idea is he's supposed to be a boss monster.
I always get boss monsters as like a. I mean, you can, but like of like a of an archetype or something. You know,
I mean, he's the second Maha.
he's just an upgraded Maha. He's not even like a boss of like a Maha archetype or anything.
Well,
Of like light sworns have like Judgment Drag, where it's like this like big strong outclasses like everything else in the archetype type stuff. This guy isn't even all that strong. Like he's not strong on his own, and he's not even all that strong with a bunch of equips.
he is
Uh,
pretty strong with a bunch of equips, Ryan.
he doesn't have any protection from like a bunch of stuff.
He has a lot of battle protection if you can load those equips on him.
Well,
And he,
protection doesn't matter. This is like 2020. No one's playing Mirror Force or like battle like freaking. I mean, maybe to stop some kind of like Sunday graveyard burning Abyss Searcher, but like no one's playing like hands or it's not like 2015.
he also has card effect
14.
protection at 3 cards loaded.
Yeah, because target like they're compulsing him. Like, yeah, maybe they can't impermanence him, but like he's like that's not even that great. Like it's not even just like a solid negate. TPY. Those kind of effects where it's like you can negate targeting effects are almost always really situationally not good. Like it's one thing to just have a card that's untargetable is a lot better than like can negate targeting effects almost always.
I agree with that, especially since this also spends like your resources. It's
Which
not like you get
you
like a
don't
free
have to
negate
spend
or
because you don't
anything.
have like archetypal like recurring like noble knights where like the equips will come back or you can just re-equip them out of the graveyard. Noble knights. like Infernal Knights thing. These are like normal equips, I guess. So if you lose them, they're not coming back unless it's like a moon mirror shield.
Now,
In which case, just play moon mirror shield on a better monster.
so my question, Ryan, would be, is this worse than the OG Maha?
Yes.
Interesting. So you're like,
Unless you have a way of summoning it out of the hand without it bricking. Maha doesn't break. It's level 4. Normal summon it, or you can special summon it. Some monster born and like equip. Like I've been playing like older like DS game like Nightmare Troubadour, Mahavilo, getting that. With the equips, you just give it an axe of despair, and now he's like 3,000 attack. Like it's just a lot solid like beating capability. Even and then, by the time you get a bit further, you'd rather just like play something else and attack axe of despair, like just like a breaker or like some 1,800 attack monster. It's like that few hundred attack doesn't always really matter as much because Maha is still weak without like you'd rather just play like Xerian Universe with an equip as opposed to Maha with an equip because the Xerian Universe is like 18, 19 attack and defense, and it can do piercing. So like Xerian Universe though with an equip, because now it can be like 2,800, lose a 400, so it's like 24 but on piercing. So like that on like Spirit Reapers or like Go tokens can just do a lot of damage. Just play that even in these older games than Maha.
so you're like old Maha.
Yeah, like
Already there was just
Maha,
better
this
stuff.
is like 50. You can just find a better level 4 to equip like an Axe of Despair or one of those things too. Like the attack boost matters less than like the kind of utility you get on whatever the thing you're equipping it is. So like nowadays it'd be like a barrier statue with like a moon mirror shield, or like Fossil Dyna, or one of those other like Banisher the Radiance. It's like doing like a macro cost effect. Something like that equipped with a powerful equip has like a whole lot of utility and like function for just like a level 4 normal summon, you know, or like a Benkai OTK, where it's just like you just normal summon him, and then do a bunch of equips and then kill the god. It's easier than this thing, and it's better than Mahavilo the OG. I don't know why they wanted to. I get like why, but it seems like a kind of like throwaway card, for the like uh anime fans. They're like fans of Mahavilo, for background. And like
Whoever they are.
sure, put it in the binder next to the original. Something like that. But you're probably not gonna put it in a deck or make a deck around it. You just make a deck around a better boss monster or a better, stronger monster than this guy.
How good would this guy be if he was a level 4?
I mean, he'd be hella better than normal Vilo, because he's just way better. Like, making it like, if you could do some sort of, like, normal summon it without tributing, then maybe it has, like, some weird downside.
Like it has like less attack or something.
It has so low attack anyway. Like if it had normal high like level 8 attack, like 25-50 starts, and then you can normal summon it without tributing, so it loses a stack. So now it's the 15-50. That would be because then you could just normal summon it, and you like if you want to do this OTK thing, all you need is the one normal summon, and then all the equips. Like 5 cards in hand. This guy plus 4 equips, and then just attack or something, right? Like, or turn 2, so you have like 5 equips. I don't know. like what? Uh, yeah,
Because it sounds like the big issue that a lot of people have with them, other than the fact,
it's not that you would make it level 4. Is just that you should make it an extra deck card, like a rank 4 or like rank 8, like, some sort of Xyz is really where this card would be. Like, because Xyz already have the kind of like, you know, bunch of like Xyz materials, boost to sub, and this card seems like it fit into that kind of thing, right? Um,
it definitely would make it easier to get out because you wouldn't have to worry about having to search it or having to special summon it like from the deck or anything weird like that.
right, like yeah, you can just like take something like Yang Zings, where it's like I give it like a mid tier boost to anything that I synchro summon with. And with that, like you just have to choose the right synchro for the right occasion, right? You know, you can get like a 2800 Armatis or some sort of like Denlong or something, you know, like, but they're all extra. So it's just like really easy to summon those kind of things. Whereas this guy has a lot of setup and it's a brick kind of monster.
Now, do you think? Because I still feel like I'm trying my best to try and find some way that he would be okay. Trade-in would pitch him to the graveyard, right?
Yeah.
So you could trade
Like
in to like
you would trade,
draw two
you would just
cards.
get a better level 8, like some sort of like Blue Eyes strat or like a Beast King Barbaros kind of guy. Like it's just like better level 8s than this. Like better generic level 8s.
I guess what I'm thinking is if you like special summoned him from the graveyard, and the whole
Or
point is
Monster,
that you want to pitch him.
but he doesn't get any bonus. Like for like a level 8, even like a trade in thing, you could just do like the Felgrand stuff, where it's just like trade in the Felgrand, and then Felgrand's whole thing, and like why they put trade in the even the old Felgrand structure deck was like it gets boosts like when it's summoned. So like just do that, or do that level. Is it level 7? Like the Arc Brave thing where it, like
Mhm.
banishes all your like something like that is just way better to do than this. Like monster born integrate by like, you know, discarding it or trading it or something. So like if you're gonna do that, just do it on a better card.
It sounds like this card is bad from almost like every position. Not every position. No one's upset that it's like a spellcaster, that it's like
I
a
mean,
light
unless
action.
there's some kind of like generic like field spell or something that just allows you to like spam out a bunch of equips on any
And get this
monster
guy out or something.
is like that might lower it, but then you'd still have to like summon this guy somehow. So you'd have to summon this guy and do something like that to just like summon out all the equips from the deck.
I mean, we have
And that's the thing that doesn't even exist, you know? Like,
right.
and that's still limited and wouldn't get played. This hypothetical like equips like field spell that can just equip 5 things.
Well, that would be like
Or if it
huge
did, you
boost.
just play it on something else,
Right. Yeah, that's what I was
better,
thinking.
you know, on like Ragnominiad or like some Chaos Max type thing, you
There are
know?
so many decks I used to make back in the day that were entirely based around like get a bunch of equips on one thing. So if they did make a card that was like
Right,
that, it would be like whoo,
right. Uh,
just do that immediately. Put like White Veil and like Rainbow Veil and like Moon
right, like
on a
White
barrier
Veil is a
statue.
pretty good card. Just take that, put it on a better monster, and just kill the opponent. Like some of those equips things aren't even that bad. Just depending on what you can like, you know, actually equip it to.
What
Like
if you
some of those
could
barrier statue equip things, pretty strong. It's like it's hard to counter like, you know, Moon Mirror Shield, like White Veil barrier statue, because like they can't special summon anything. Any of their back row is probably just getting destroyed by the White Veil, and then like Moon Mirror Shield makes it so that like any kind of like, you know, level 4 beater that they summon without special summoning also can't beat over it. So like what do you do? I don't know. Maybe
what
get some
if you could
negation.
special summon it by banishing equip cards from your hand or grave.
There's already a better card, like the God Phoenix guy. He's just already a card that can do that, like summons from banishing and equip from grave, and he's just a better card than this. Like, cause he like steals the opponent's monster and turns it into an equip, and he can use that to like negate monster effects, and he special summons himself out the hand by banishing an equip, and with all those Infernoble Knights, there's all these like fire warrior supports that he can use with and things. Like that's just a better card to do all these like equip based strats than this. It's
Right now,
true.
I'm thinking about like, why is it that they made like Maha so bad?
they, they didn't care. It's Maha. You don't have to make Maha good. That's the thing. You could just make a mediocre card and call it a day. Especially when it's just like a retrain of an already mediocre card.
I also don't know why Maha, why they were like, you need like options for 5 equips. Like, do you think the card would be better if it only had like, if it had one
Better
equip?
effects for like 1 to 3.
Yeah, like just 1 to 3. Like, you
You
don't need
can
like
though,
5.
right? Because like 5 equips is a lot, especially when the effects are kind of lackluster. Like you could just have punchier like effects, like double piercing and like multiple attacks and a huge attack boost. Maybe it's just like those three or something, or some Ragnar Miniad thing where it's just like, oh, you can't summon any shit now. Uh, for less. Like it seems like the things that like does the opponent can't activate anything during the battle phase, and the opponent can't activate monster things. Just like swap those and like drop that other one for something else, right? Like give it an Armades effect, give it some kind of attack boost effect, and give it some kind of way of dealing a whole lot of damage. Either like battle damage is doubled, like double piercing, or like attack directly, like some kind of probably not attack directly, but like attack a whole lot, like all of the things your opponent controls once each, something like that, and just like 3 effects, 3 equips. I don't know, because it doesn't even have to be equipped. You just make a card like that, just do those things and give it a decent attack, and just yeah, you should just have a better card. There's a lot of different ways you can just take a card, tweak it a bit, make it better, while keeping the same kind of theme of
Idea
Maha.
behind it or
Yeah.
whatever. Um, but yeah, it
Like
sounds.
a level 4. Like you could just take Mahavilo as like a level 4, like you're saying, and then just add those effects to already existing Mahavilo. And that was a level 4. Like an actual just like retrain where it's like we didn't even like increase the attack or like level. It's just like Maha but with more effects. Like Maha with a couple more effects. It's just better than Maha. Like it's just a solid improvement upgrade thing. Um, you could do that, but they made it's kind of like uh Breaker, the magical warrior has the same thing. He has like a level 6 or 7 like tribute monster breaker where it's like, oh, if you tribute summon you get like 2 spell counters, so instead of like 19 he's like 23, and you can destroy like 2 speller traps, and then I think it's just like, why would you ever do this? Like ever, just like tribute someone a breaker, like just play Twin Twister or like some better spell or trap removal, or just play normal breaker because of like a level 4 like 1900. Like it just doesn't scale up into high level monsters all the time, right?
Is this
Like
mom?
tribute summoning, and then I think that other thing was like if it's pendulum summon, you get 3 count. It's like one of those like
Ooh.
really early where it's like just normal effect monster type stuff, but they get a bonus from pendulum, and they're not pendulum monsters, so there's no reason to put it in a pendulum deck or to pendulum summon. There's a couple of those cards when they realize like after first couple like pendulum sets where they're like, these are garbage. No one's gonna do this. Like at best you can have a pendulum summon of like Apex Avion where it's like, yeah, it isn't like an actual pendulum support, but it's just like better in that you can pendulum summon and puts back to the hand, something like that, which is like it has better synergy in pendulum decks than like these other cards we made that actually get a specific boost from pendulum summoning, or like a whole bunch of other just in the same way that you can pendulum summon like regular monsters. No one does that. You never do that. Why would you? What you just have like a 1 and an 8, and now I'm pendulum summoning like dark magician. Like you don't do that. No one does that. There's a, pendulums is only in pendulum deck, and you can like with the Zephyrs, especially the Zephyrs, like kind of we're trying to like, well, what if we like actually make like pendulum support cards for these decks? So now you can have like pendulum variants, and like they kind of, but they have like synergy because they're in archetype. That's like the closest you get really to pendulum summoning non-pendulum cards really ever. It is not a thing that is ever gonna happen, especially when like you have like these really insular archetypes with the pendulums with like scales. Like you can only summon this archetype like Cleese or something, or it's just like you can only summon Cleese. But it's fine because you don't need anything else within Cleese.
It's
You don't want to.
like
It's just not a.
pendulums do make this easier to summon, but I get what you're saying. Like, who would pendulum summon it? But I don't know. That made me think, what if you had pendulum monsters
But like if you had right, but that's the
that
thing.
were
Like if you
equipped
have
for
pendulums,
Maha, though?
like a pendulum scales, you would just summon. Because the thing about pendulums is one of those things, like in like Master Rule 3, right? One, two,
Is that it like takes up
4.
zones now or whatever? Like it
Well,
takes up your spell and trap zones.
Master Rule 3 that's what the pendulums. It's like Synchroxes pendulum. And Master Rule 4 is the links. Master Rule 5 is what we have, or the post Master Rule 4. It's not actual 5. Master Rule 3 is that like you could use them all as material and then go to the top of the extra deck and you could summon them all. You could just do that. Like the thing with pendulums was like the recurring resource thing, where you get like Dino Mist, where it's like a tribute thing, but they come back either with like because they have a spell that actually puts hand, which is neat. But they also you could just summon them all back like 4 or 5 at once. Master Rule 4, you couldn't do that, so a lot of pendulum decks that already were kind of struggling kind of died. Even with something like Electromite, they just kind of died. And then now you still can't because they still have that nerve. Like you can summon all that other shit except pendulums. And so like the only pendulum decks that would work are these kind of like insular pendulum things that can gain advantage, with like the magicians where they have like you can special summon it out the deck with like that one magician guy. Go for like rank 4 plays or something, like level 8 synchro plays, or some kind of Cleese where it's like I'm just still doing the skill drain stun thing, 2015, let's go, kind of stuff. Um, yeah, and then like
Pendulums
with the
might be the
scales,
best
you
way to
still have
special summon this guy.
well, even if this was pendulum summon, right? You'd have 2 scale,
Right.
but this is current field, so you still only have 3 equip base zones.
But then that's a good basis to start with because you get the gains 1,000 for each equip. You get the like opponent cannot activate monster effects during battle phase,
Right.
and
So you
you
only
get the
need 3,
negate thing.
right?
So then you only need 2 more to then get them like all the way up.
No, but I mean, if you
Those
do pendulum
scales on
summon
the field
guy,
or whatever. So
because the
that'd be
scales
the
aren't the
issue.
equips.
Right.
So it's essentially like even if you wanted to pendulum summon this guy as he is, you'd have to sacrifice 4 and 5 like level of equip. Because you can only have 3 equips at once. That's another thing with the modern pendulums is they still have the field zone restrictions. So like Magispectors, they're like trap based or like Dynamis with their like traps and spells, is they're still
Limited.
limited in what they can have in the back row with the scales. So they're not even as good or as effective as they were in Master Rule 3, just based on that. Plus they like, lose out on having to have link monsters. So like pendulums are still like most pendulum archetypes are still kind of dead, except for maybe the magician ones because they have a whole lot of support. You might be able to finagle an actual workable pendulum that's not like one of these like normal like Magispectors or Dynamist or like Zephyr, well maybe Zephyr, but like pendulum strats is just not good. Pendulum's not good anymore until they like unnerf it, but they're not gonna unnerf it.
Are there pendulum equip cards?
No, I mean, not really. Like, cause the pendulums they don't have like icons for like the spells. Like you
Can you
could
put it
just
in
do
the text? Like, couldn't you say like this card is
sure like move
card?
it from the pendulum scale like one zone over to like the spell and trap
What if it
stuff.
could count as an equip while in the
And
scale?
you can,
Yeah,
but I don't think any of them do that.
because you could make like Maha
And the thing with the
pendulums.
pendulum effects is you can just have an effect. I mean, because like there's not a lot of like equip based pendulums. I don't think. Maybe like
This could be the opportunity. Make some Maha pendulums that can equip to Maha, but are also
it's
used
too late.
to
We already have
summon
this guy,
Maha.
and he's not a pendulum monster.
He's not, but he could have pendulum based support to get him out of the hand. And then they can
No, that's
use Eclipse to
dumb. Like
boost
I said, you
him.
don't pendulum summon non-pendulum like the only pendulum deck I can think of that's decent was like Endymions, but they don't really do pendulum summoning, right? Like the same with the Mythic Beast. Their whole thing was like, well, we'll just like, only trigger when we have like one zone open, and we just do things with like institution, and then the Endymion things was always just like summoning out of the pendulum zones and from somewhere else. So like Magister summons from the extra deck, so you need like an extra monster zone open or an open link thing. Servant does from the deck. Uh, what's the other one? The level 7 guy summons at the hand, and then like Mighty Master summons himself out of the zone and then nukes everything. So you don't actually have to do the whole two scales pendulum summon or pendulum summon out. That's a thing you can do, but it doesn't always even come up, right? So like the pendulums, that whole thing was they're getting a whole lot of boost from like being monsters that can hold spell counters and also being spell cards. So that's the major improvement there to really like have spell counters be like a decent strategy in that, because before you need like spell counting generating cards like the field spell or like Black Stone of Legend, not Black Stone, Black Power Stone, like some shitty card like that. And then you need like the card that can actually use the spell counters, like the breaker type thing. But a lot of them were kind of old and shitty and didn't have any synergy. So they're like, we'll just kind of scrap all of the old spell counter things except for like Citadel, I guess, and we'll just make it like a pendulum. And it just worked. It's good. They're really good pendulums because they don't use the normal pendulum mechanics of like pendulum summoning. It's just fine. Uh, but like in that, they're like these good spellcasters, but you're not summoning like you're not pendulum summoning or like doing like non-spell counter like you're not even using the old Endymion like spell counter like level 4s like breaker or like crusader of Endymion, even though you could, they're just too slow and efficient and not pendulums. So because the thing with like them being monsters and spells is you can use them either, like if I need a spell to get it like over to 3 like the other guy in the pendulums on, I use activate as a spell, or I can just summon it. All those other guys can't do that, so they're just kind of garbage because they're kind of garbage before, they remain garbage. This guy remains garbage. Like Muhammad, it's not worth it. Now, you can though take this guy into one of those like manga anime like YGO Pro format things, where you can just use a bunch of OP cards, like OP equips, um, like prominence or something, and like a bunch of like hand replenishment, like just card event, like +5 equips. You could make a deck out of it that if you can just like cheat your way into like actually, because at that point you can just win with whatever boss monster. You just summon anything out the hand, +5, replenish all your hand, just do whatever, clear their field really easy with prominence, and then just kill them with a couple attacks. Yeah,
Do
like
you,
in that kind of format, you can just kill them with anything.
do you
But
think people are gonna make custom card support for Maha on
it probably already
Game
is.
Network or whatever?
Tooling book.
Dueling Book, thank you. My bad.
I wouldn't be surprised if there is. You want me to check, see if there's any Maha Vilo support?
If you
It probably won't
want.
be good or like legible, like it's probably from like weird anime profiles. That's-
Also, what do you think of this episode so far?
I'm not asleep.
That's
And like last episode, I was just like not saying much. Uh, she was just talking about someone.
I like how you were like, because you were just talking about, and then you couldn't remember what it was. You're like, whatever.
No, I was looking at the screen because I clicked on Dueling Networks link, and it was like, oh, it's Dueling Networks down. I was like, oh no, oh, that's just the old website. Oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah. What were you, like comic books or something? I was just like one word responses. 'Cause
Why is it that you get like particularly hype for Yu-Gi-Oh, but for comic
well, not
books it
even
has to be like
particularly. It's just
specific
I
stuff?
can just talk at length about stuff.
See, that's how I am with comics. I got that.
Sure, but like, uh, it's it's not even the stuff. I don't know if the comics things you're talking about yesterday were all that particularly interesting anyway to me, so I didn't have much to say.
Let's see.
I'm just looking at some of these new
My
Russian
mind was like, if
cards.
only there was like a middle ground between the two. And I'm like, well, Yu-Gi-Oh has a manga. Uh,
Uh,
but I never read Yu-Gi-Oh manga. Though I read a little bit of GX.
custom cards.
Also, comment section below. Let us know what you guys' thoughts are on the new Maha Vilo. Do you agree or disagree with what we've said so far? And how would you try and make Maha Vilo better? I think that would be interesting.
Someone has a custom card version of OG Maha, and it's just Maha. I don't. It's not different in any way. Is it different? Does Maha have to be equipped spell, or is it any equip card? Maha.
Let me see if anyone's posted any comments while you're looking at the custom
Yeah,
card.
equip card. So like you could equip like a trap or like one of those monsters where it's like I can turn like Dragoon types. I could just be an equip or equip myself to a thing. To Maha and he'd get a boost. Yeah. Why would you ever do that?
Volt actually left a comment on episode 7, the one where you fell asleep, and he said, Ryan over here being unprofessional again. He said, wake up, man.
Looks like there's several Maha things for like Mahad, like the dark magician-y type guy. There's a couple random things that have similar names, like Tomahawk has a Maha in its name. Uh, okay,
So,
here's the thing.
we don't
I
have
found
a ton
one
of
Maha
comments from last episode.
equip support. So it's Maha Vilo, the Seeker of Nirvana. It's got some Maha Vilo looking guy in the artwork. This card is always treated as Maha Vilo. This card gains 500 attack for each card equipped to this card. Quick effect. You can destroy one card equipped to this card. Destroy one card on the field. You can only use this effect of Maha Vilo, the Seeker of Nirvana once per turn. So it's just like the same stats as Maha. So it's like a strict upgrade. It's like you can take an equip and destroy a thing. Quick effect, which is pretty decent because it doesn't target the thing it destroys. So you can just like quick effect destroy a thing, which is pretty good. Like Drimed, that whole thing of why Drimed was pretty good back in like Zuda was it could just quick effect destroy anything, pretty much. Uh, we're playing like my body as a shield in the hand.
So, would you say that this custom Mahavila is better than the new Mahavila?
Yes. Here's a Mahavilo that's a normal monster. A magician who is always dressed in an outfit of navy blue. He always sits cross-legged and meditates. It's just like describing his artwork. Thanks. Thanks, Raymond Grass for making normal monster Maha. Making it like super worse. Cause like there's already just like I think better like level 4 normal spellcasters. I know there's
Have
like
to
better
be.
like level 4. Like this is the kind of thing that would be like meta in like LOB only format, right?
Legend of Blue Eyes?
Would it be legible or just like the starter deck only? Where like the top like level like before like 700s. I think yeah, I think like we're like one of the top things is like the like sun red bird or something or like Eurobeat where like the meta like level 4 is like around 1550 1600 is like the strongest normal summonable level 4. This is as strong as that would be, and by the next thing I think the like the order deck like Yugi Kaiba has like things like Neo the Marksman where he's like 17 or like Legend and he's like 18 and it's just like okay. So we do have another Mahalo custom card. This is essentially doing the same kind of thing as that monster they just made. Okay, so it's
Ooh.
like a normal Violet looking guy. Apply the following effects depending on how many cards are equipped to this card. 2 plus. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can target one card on the field, destroy it. 3 plus. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, it can attack again in a row. It's more like a kind of like BLS Envoy of the End Mahavilo, which is still just better than the big monster thing. Like other Mahavilo, it's they're like, okay, well, what do we do with the Mahavilo to make it better? I don't know, just give it a generic kind of destruction effect. I mean, this is just once per turn during either player's turn, target one card of the field, destroy it. Having 2 equips, uh, it's better than the other one because the other one had like a cost. You had like send and equip or something.
Right.
This is just better, like, except it targets to destroy.
Mm.
If this card destroys a monster by battle, you can attack cards. Okay, that's
It's better than normal Maha at least.
Moonmere Shield. You can just attack twice, take out 2 things. It's fine. That's all we have in terms of things that are Maha in there. So maybe check Philo.
Also, for the last couple minutes or so, your internet connection has been rocky. You've been like cutting in and out. I think I've caught most of what's happened though. I don't think I've missed like a lot. But you're just like occasionally pausing. Kind
The spell. The guy who made the Nirvana guy, the one that counts as Maha. I don't know why you'd count it as Mahavilo in the name, like, because I guess he has a spell card here that's about specifically Mahavilo. So it's Cavern of Nirvana, because the other one's like the Seeker of Nirvana.
of.
Is destroy one equipped spell you control or in your hand, and if you do, draw 2 cards. I mean, that's pretty good, actually, because you could just destroy
Any
a spell
equip
in your hand.
spell is
I mean, it's not
probably
even like a +1. It's like a 2 for 2, right?
right.
You like lose the one in your hand, and you activate this card to draw 2. You don't even have to have it on the field, so it's fine. Equip spell is weird because it's like sure equip spell like in your hand, but it also means you can't like destroy like any equip card. Dragoonity style that's equipped to Maha. If this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card, add one Mahavilo from your deck to your hand, then shuffle one card from your hand into your deck. You can only use each effect of Cavern or Vanilla once. The second effect is so already like weak and shit. Like it can banish it out the grave to add a Vilo, and then I lose a card out of my hand. Like
Well, it's more
just
that you're trading
Vilo
the
for
card.
free. Shuffle one card from your hand and do that. Mahavilo isn't that good that you would warrant having an additional restriction. Like, just Mahavilo, just give it to me. Like, I don't like. Why do I need to shuffle a thing back? At least, like, you could do like another like destroy another equip spell. In this card, can trigger the smoke grenade thing because you can destroy an equip spell you control.
Mm-hmm.
So you could play that in this. Probably would actually if you're using. Okay, there's only like 2 cards here that the guy made that are Mahavilo support. Not even an arc, and it doesn't help summon the big guy. It just better Mahavilo. Yeah, there we go. Mahavilo. No one really gives a shit about. It's
Now,
another thing that has expensive custom cards.
I saw you hit up that yawn, and we are a little over an hour in the podcast. Would you like to? You gave a face. I was about to ask.
You know, like I'm not like tired because I've been yawning for like at work. You know, I think it's like 5 p.m. and I'm just like, oh, under my mask like a bunch. It's fine. You don't need to. I'm not gonna sleep on you again. Like that, you know.
Okay.
Tonight.
Ryan's like, we're on the Yu-Gi-Oh now. He's like, don't end it.
Well, I mean, not even that. It's just sitting like this. I'm not like a sleep position, you know.
What? So you're saying you couldn't fall asleep in that like sitting
I
pose?
mean, I could, but it's not nearly as comfortable as like laying all the way down on a pillow.
Are you not lying on a pillow? The camera angle, I thought you're on a pillow.
I mean, there's a pillow, but I'm not like in a sleeping pillow. Because normally when I'm like sitting on the bed of the pillow, I have like the pillow like up against the bedboard or whatever. When I actually sleep, I'll like grab it and like put it down and I'll like sleep there. So I'm actually asleep like this all the time.
Hmm. Let's see. So that Mahavilo conversation was like the first hour of the podcast. Now we have like 9 minutes left.
There's other Maha Philo less non-Maha you want to talk about? Some other Philos.
Wait, what
We
do you
could make a
mean other
custom art
Vilos?
archetype. It seems like no one's actually done it. Like on Dueling Book. No one really has like just a fully fledged like archetype supporting Maha Violet.
Okay. Issuing out a challenge. You guys watching this podcast who make Yu-Gi-Oh custom cards.
I was in a challenge. I was just saying you could do it.
No, but I'm
And
making the challenge now. So what we want you guys to do is to make some Mahavilo support cards on Dueling Book.
I didn't mean a
Tell us
challenge.
about
I
it
meant like
in the
you
comment
could,
section.
or I could, like if we wanted to, for sure. All the viewers can do that too if they want.
Well, Ryan, you should also do it, and we can talk about
I don't
yours,
want to.
and we can talk about
Maha
that.
Violet's flag.
Why are you like, I could do it, and then I'm like,
No,
oh
I'm
sure,
just
and then
like
you go, but I don't want to.
I'm saying is it's like fertile, like no one's touched it ground, like a
Right,
Maha Violet archetype.
right.
Whatever you want, no one's done it. Konami hasn't done it. No one on that website. There's like tens of thousands of custom cards. Nobody's really fucked with Maha. Like only a couple times. That one spell was really the only Maha Vilo. So it's not even an archetype because it's just specifically Vilo. And then the one monster retrain counts as Vilo, you know, for some reason. And it's overly balanced and shit. You could probably just use that card in custom decks anyway, or whatever.
What if they're about to like drop another Mahavilo? Like this one's called
Why?
I. What if the
Maybe.
other one is Dark Sky Mahavilo and they go for like a chaos thing?
This is so dumb. They already did all their chaos shit. Like they had the they probably chaos out for a while. Like they already made a whole bunch of chaos support, and it's just better than this guy. And like you already have mediocre and kind of shitty chaos support. That's just better than this card. Like the Twilight BLS is just better than this card, and it's shitty. But at least it special summons itself at the hand with 3,000 attack. It doesn't really do much else.
That does sound honestly better than
Like they wouldn't do that, especially not so soon after like Toon Cow.
this.
Shitty
You
Toon
say
cards.
they wouldn't
You
do that.
can make more Toon cards. Like there's a lot of cards you can just. Well, if we're like not tunes, but like the same kind of thing where they're like we're taking like Daedalus, and we already turned it into like Light Ray. We turned it into a dark. I think did they make like a dark?
Yeah, there's a Chaos Daedalus or whatever.
No, not the chaos. Like it just had like a dark, like dark arm dragon type thing. The dark grouping.
There are multiple Daedalus. I can Google it.
I don't know if there's a dark one. If there is, I've never really seen anyone play it. Like just have just a mediocre effect. Like it's mainly like Dark Arm Dragon was like the best one ever, and then you kind of had like a few other like Dark Grepher was also super important, and then all the other ones are just kind of like the Dark Creator and stuff like that. It's like don't play that. Like there wasn't really like an archetype, and they kind of had like it's all just like generic dark, so you could just put them all in one deck, I guess. But they don't really have as great synergy necessarily in like an archetypal way. So like unless you have a really good way of manipulating the graveyard for some kind of like dark arm dragon thing, because the dark arm dragon hating was always like you just kind of like hope that you like have only three darks, like when you'd play in like Black Wings or like Dad, where you just like the Dad thing you like banish malicious is out of the grave, so I guess you could lower the amount of darks, but you wouldn't like you'd try like early game, like turn two or something, get the Dad out, blow up the opponent's field, and like go for the OTK.
The dark
Um,
one is just Chaos Daedalus.
yeah, but I mean because like dark creators like you need like five or more darks, and like that is like specifically three. So if you want to have like a deck that had both, you would need some way of like really like fine tuning, like banishing or like moving around darks in and out of the graveyard. And I don't really think they ever made a card like that as much. They have like Armageddon Knights and Dark Greffers, but like some kind of like field spell specific, really good. So there's a bunch of those were like kind of like generic good darks that were kind of played, I guess. Probably better than the light rays. Light rays like only play in like light swarms, and not all the light rays are very good. So you could probably just cut out the light rays for like a couple darks and put some chaos monsters in there, because the chaos monsters are just better than the light rays, and then you can have some pretty good like dark monsters, like Plague Spreader Zombie or something, synchro plays, Revived King Hadad, so it's stuff like that. Twilight Sworn is just essentially the name of that deck, which is Light Sworn but with chaos stuff.
Um,
Because
real
Twilight was kind of the name for chaos decks, I guess, back in the day, for some reason.
I want to plug my new book that I just submitted.
I think the podcast.
Soon because it's
Plug?
10:57.
Sure.
Yeah. I just submitted another comic for publishing. It's going to be available for 99 cents on Kindle. The comic is called Blade of Sparks. It is a medieval fantasy adventure comic about a knight who's trying to rescue a princess from a dragon. I'm pretty excited about it. I really like how the cover art turned out. Again, this is a book that I wrote and drew myself. I drew it using Microsoft Paint, so it has that like kind of like kitty aesthetic to it, and all the characters are like stick people. The dragon isn't a stick person. But I think if you're into medieval fantasy stuff and you want to see a comic done in this style, I would definitely highly recommend it. When it is available, I'll announce its availability on the podcast. What I wanted to segue into is Ryan, should my next comic be like a game inspired comic? Because I could do something where
Like
it's like
what
the
game inspired you?
well, I would probably need to make up my own game. Like I couldn't make a comic that was like they're playing Yu-Gi-Oh or something because I like publish it, but I could have them playing.
So there's this thing about a fly. So there's like the vice presidential debate was today, and like a fly was like landing on Pence's head. So then people are like tweeting about the fly on Twitter. They're like 2020.
Hmm, let's see. Oh, you
And then
froze.
Twitter
You're,
listed as audacious fly captivates America during the vice president. Like no one gives a shit about the vice president as much as this fly potentially. These debates are so worthless.
let's see. Um, I could do like a game inspired comic and like make up a game for the characters to play during the comic. I was also thinking about doing something Scott Pilgrim inspired because I think that could potentially be interesting. Um,
God said that the fly was me. You're welcome.
do you think the fly thing might come up in one of those like Trump parody comics?
So it says the fly meme died before it had any chance to live.
Is it already dead?
Well, I mean, because like flies have like such small lifespans,
Oh.
kind of thing. But yeah, maybe it is that
Ooh.
a fleeting moment
Speaking of fleeting
an
moments,
hour ago.
we've hit 11 p.m. It's time for us to end the podcast. Ryan, do you have anything you want to add before we end the podcast for the night?
Ooh woo, guys. Ooh woo.
Any recommendations for anything before we end the podcast?
Yeah. Read Komi-san can't communicate.
Okay. Ooh. Thank you all for watching. If you guys like this video, make sure to smash that like button. Favorite, comment, subscribe, and ding ding ding, ring the notification bell to be notified whenever we do these videos. As your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, here with...
Looks like it got all locked up and frozen.
Oh, Ryan's still locked up and frozen. Like, the image isn't moving, but I can hear him. Here with Ryan, who's all locked up and frozen. Log it out. Peace. Chickadee guy.